Good evening everyone and welcome to my fully interactive Facebook Live interview with the wedding guru Oscar. It gives me a great pleasure to bring a fantastic and super well experienced expert guest speaker for you this evening. We will shortly be joined by Laura Russell from the Old Course Hotel in St Andrews, a stunning property, and Laura has got years and years of experience, probably the most experienced and knowledgeable expert we have interviewed on this panel so far. So I'm super excited to introduce Laura to you in just a few moments. Before we get started, I want to go over a couple of housekeeping rules with yourselves to give everyone the opportunity to join us live, as I appreciate it takes a wee while for everyone to get their notifications ready and sorted. So we are currently going live across 3 platforms. We're live on my Facebook page, The Wedding Guru Oscar. We're also live in my bridal private group, the interactive Facebook Lives with The Wedding Guru Oscar. And we're also going live on YouTube channel. So if you're joining us across any of these 3 platforms, you are in the right place at the right time already. We are going across these 3 platforms using a streaming software called StreamYard. And for that reason, those of you who are joining me right now on the bridal group on Facebook, you might see a little notification at the bottom of the screen right now, either at the bottom of your screen or right up the top of the screen. And this means that when you're commenting or asking questions today, you just need to follow this little link, streamyard.com/Facebook, and give StreamYard the permission to share your name up on the screen. If you prefer not to do that, or you're not sure how to do that, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you pop your name before any comments or questions. That way Laura and I can address you by name when we're responding to your questions as well. Couple of things. As you're joining us live today, make sure you say hello, tell us your name, tell us where you're joining us from. Any questions we can help you with, this would be the time to ask them as well. The session is live, however, if you are joining us on repeat, on replay, make sure you comment #repeat in the comment boxes below. That way Laura and I can always come back to any questions after the sessions have finished, because the videos will remain available in my page, the group, and also on my YouTube channel as well. And we would love to help you along your wedding planning journey. This is your one-off chance, one-off opportunity to ask questions from our super well experienced and knowledgeable guest speaker today. So make the most of this opportunity, because Laura is super excited to share her advice, tips and hints about wedding planning, and she would love to help you along this very exciting wedding journey and wedding planning journey today as well. Before we finish for today, we're aiming for about 45 minutes to an hour. The more questions we've got, the longer we can run this interview today, and we highly encourage questions throughout the session as well. But there will be a little freebie to take away right at the end of the session today, a little free guide I've put together just around the engagement season of Christmas and New Year, and I will be sharing the link to this free guide up on the screen at the end of the session. So make sure you stay with us either right to the end or join us before we finish up today, or you can always join us on repeat as well. Feel free to join us at any point at all today. Perfect. Just checking, we've got plenty of us here already. We are 3-4 minutes into the interview already, and I think that's all of the housekeeping rules covered already, and I'm super excited to introduce Laura in just a moment. So, a couple of things to let you know about what's going to happen today is we will do the official introductions in just a moment, then we will proceed with the official interview and questions at that point, and we will then have an open Q&A. Like I said, this is your one-off opportunity. Laura is giving up her evening to speak to us this evening, and she will be sharing all the advice and tips with you as well. So if you're looking for tried and tested strategies or inspirations for your wedding planning, please make the most of this opportunity. Ask the questions, pop them in the comment boxes below, and if there's any questions you would like to keep to the end, that's perfectly fine, because we will have the open Q&A at the end as well. Perfect. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Oscar. I am the wedding guru Oscar. I have been involved in the wedding industry since 2009. For the very first 4.5 years of my career, I was responsible for running and delivering weddings on the day, looking after couples from the moment of arrival to the time they headed to their beds. After that, I've looked after 3 luxury city centre properties in Edinburgh, looking after over 130 weddings every year across these 3 stunning hotels. And it was also during that time that the highlight of my careers happened, when I was nominated by wonderful wedding planning couples for 3 recognitions with the Scottish Vows Awards and the Scottish Hotel Award as well. It was also during that period that I have been very honoured to contribute to some of the biggest publications, with the biggest wedding blog, Love My Dress, the biggest Jewish wedding blog, Smashing the Glass, as well as the more local publications with Scottish Wedding Directory, Tie the Knot Scotland, Luxury Scottish Wedding, and My Scotland Wedding as well. If you're looking for inspiration or ideas on your wedding planning, make sure you check out these sites today as well, or at some point in your wedding planning. I'm sure you will come across them anyway. Perfect. Lovely. That covers enough about myself. We're obviously not here to talk about the Wedding Guru Oscar. We are here to join and meet our fantastic guest speaker today. So bear with me 1 second and I'm going to bring Laura up to the screen. Perfect. Laura, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for giving up your time and advice and hints and tips with our wedding planning couples. I was super excited to have you on the panel, and I was so delighted when you have agreed to do the interview with us this evening. But before we get started, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the Haute Course Hotel in St Andrews?
I just want to say thank you, Oscar, for inviting me to this evening. What a welcome you've just given me. So I don't know how I'm going to live up to that, but little bit about me. I have been in the wedding industry in one way or another for probably the past 20 years. I dipped my toe in when I was a student many moons ago and fell in love with hospitality. I have probably worked across a good variety of 4- and 5-star hotels. I've also spent a good bit of time working with an outside catering company, specialising again with exclusive use venues, unique venues, and ones that predominantly looked after weddings. So I got to carry on my passion with weddings. So it's been a fun ride. You know, it's been a lot of fun. It has been a whirlwind, and there's been so much variety over the years. What I do at the Old Course Hotel is I head up the team of some fabulous wedding specialists. We are there to look after everybody from their initial inquiry. We show them around the property. We show them all the sort of hidden secrets and the hidden gems in there. We work with them to then plan their wedding, and we are there to answer any questions. There's no thing as such as a silly question. We're full of silly answers, but you know, it's par for the course.
Absolutely.
And we're there to link in with the operational team. You know, we are there to guide the couple on their wedding day. We're there to hold their hand. We see them through from taking flowers to the room, you know, to them walking down the aisle, to taking them to their seats. And we are just that link there, making sure everything runs smoothly. So
Absolutely.
It's a great job.
Without a team like yourself, obviously I've got experience of working at hotels as well, and it's such an important role because effectively you guide the couple from the very initial excitement stage through kind of formulating the whole idea of wedding plan to the day itself, and then obviously liaising with your operational teams. But what a fantastic story. 20 years in weddings. This is incredible. No, you don't at all. What cream do you use?
I'll tell you later.
Fantastic, brilliant. This is super inspirational, guys. So if you've got any questions, do let us know today. We would love to help you along the process. Wow, we've got so many comments already, so I'm just going to bring up a couple of names up on the screen. We've got Catherine joining us from White House Flowers. Good to see you, Catherine. Thank you very much for joining. We've got Richard Gray joining us, the Toastmaster, saying hello, looking forward to a great interview. Absolutely 100% as well. We've got Ewan Lawrence from Tartan Entertainment. We are performing at quite a few weddings at the Old Course. Excited to finally play at the venue, and I look forward to meeting you, Laura. Oscar will tell you tell you how to throw a great party. 100%. Yes, you guys are absolutely fantastic. We've got Katie joining us. Woo, Laura. We've got Kelly Mortimer joining us. Lovely to see you, Kelly. Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got the wonderful Roddy and Emma joining us from My Scotland Wedding. We've got Ewan saying great guest, fantastic. Mette, who joined us for an interview a couple of weeks ago, is with us today as well. We've got Phyllis, very lucky to have Laura at the Old Course. She is a star, 100%. I can't agree more. I second that as well. We've got Wendy Russell, Laura is a fantastic at her job, 100%. And we've got Lucy Dunn. Hi Oscar, Laura is a fab manager, can't wait to get back to working with her on all things wedding. You've got your whole team with us, fantastic, brilliant, good to see them. Hopefully they'll pop a couple of questions there for you as well.
Well, hopefully not difficult ones.
No, I'm sure they'll be kind with you. I'm sure of that as well. So, for those of you who have just joined us, because I see quite a few faces now popped up on the screen, and we've got quite a few of you joined us already. Just a couple of things. We are going live across 3 platforms, and we highly encourage comments and questions. This is a one-off opportunity for yourselves to ask questions about inspiration, anything to do with weddings, of our expert guest speaker. As Laura introduced herself, she's got over 20 years experience in wedding, guys. This is amazing. Use her, make the most of the opportunity, and we highly encourage comments and questions in the comment boxes below. We've got Katie joining us. Hi both, looking forward to this. We've got Amy, she is the best manager. Fantastic, good to hear. All the fantastic testimonials you're getting today.
It's going to cost me a fortune, no doubt.
No, I'm not sure of that. I'm sure that they are absolutely genuine and loving working with you as well. So we've got a few questions sent ahead of the interview today, Laura. So I'm just going to start with the first one, and then we can proceed with our interview. So the first question is couple asking what to ask wedding venue at the first visit. I think this is a really good question.
I mean, where to start? I mean, I genuinely am a firm believer that when you find your venue, you know from the first instant you walk in the door. But I think guest numbers is always a first thing, because if we can't accommodate your numbers, are you willing to sacrifice guest numbers to be able to fit into the venue? Or are we not the venue for you? Which pains me. But, numbers is a huge thing. Couples need to come armed with a guest list. Yeah. They need to know who they've got to have there on the day. It's a number one question, really. Definitely. All couples have got to prioritise what's important to them.
100%. And, we obviously, before we started, guys, we had a wee catch up with Laura, and Laura was all very excited for the venue opening up soon after a major refurbishment and the wonderful function suite that you will have. So numbers shouldn't be a problem, but obviously minimum numbers and stuff like that applies as well. So could you tell our audience who's joining us today a little bit more about what's happening right now at the Old Course?
It is such exciting times at the Old Course just now. It really, really is. We have been doing a major refurbishment. We've been expanding. This started whilst we were still open, all busy going on behind the scenes. And it's now, we're getting close to the final stages. We're just about completed on one stage. So we're in the middle of expanding our conservatory, which you can see in this picture there. So we're extending that ever so slightly on either end. And I'm so excited to see that we're adding featured doors on both ends. Wow. Anybody that knows the conservatory knows how much I have longed for a long aisle in there for brides to make their entrance down. I think there's a good chance I'll be trying to skip down the aisle before them just to try it. It's going to be amazing.
Quite right. You need to test it.
Hopefully. Just don't know if I'll get away with getting a new dress for it first. Our ballroom was given a soft refurb a couple of years ago, so that's stunning. And what we have now done, which I'm hopefully going to see next week, is our Hall of Champions, which was our largest function space. So it has all been expanded. It's really versatile. It's got partitionable walls. It has got handcrafted chandeliers in there. We have a beautiful carpet that has been handmade for us, and it's similar colours to the ballroom. So it's bringing in the heathers from Scottish Hills, incorporating in the green from the golf courses. You know, we're in St Andrews, and it's going to be stunning. So that should be getting handed back, and I'll be delighted to see it next week.
Can't wait to come over and see that myself as well.
We will be rolling out the red carpet when we're allowed to have guests back. You know,
Amazing.
We love what we do. We do what we do for a reason, and it's not the same without guests.
100%. This is very exciting. Obviously, investments like that are absolutely brilliant, and especially at the time right now when things will be opening up soon, and we've got obviously so many weddings gearing up to get busy again with their wedding planning and excited about it all again. Will be a brilliant time to bring a new kind of vision to the Alt Course as well, which is absolutely great. We've got Candice joining us today. Looking forward to the interview, Laura. Good to see you, Candice. Thank you very much for joining. Guys, you've been fantastic. Plenty comments and little messages from yourselves. Good to see everyone. Thank you very much for joining us live as well. So we're going to move on to the next official question, and that question for you, Laura, was why is it that you love what you do? Could you tell us a little bit more?
It's really easy, Oscar. You're working with couples on what is going to be the happiest day of their lives. You know, what's better than seeing them cement their love? Sounds really cheesy, but it's true. I am an old romantic at heart. You know, and you're working with them and you're seeing something that they've maybe dreamed of since they were little. You see it come to life. And my team will tell you, I am an old romantic, I am soppy. You know, that moment when they're saying their vows, you know, I'm guaranteed to shed a tear. My team have been known to sort of shove a tissue in my hand as we just close the doors over in the conservatory because they know I'm going to start. But it's a privilege. It really is a privilege to be able to work with couples on their special day. They put a lot of trust in you. And
100%.
I'm really grateful to have been doing what I do for so long.
Absolutely. Do you know, and it's a testament to yourself as well. As you said to begin with in our interview, you've been involved in weddings for over 20 years now. You know, people quite often start in weddings and progress to other opportunities, but knowing that you've been in the industry for 20 years, clearly you've got passion for what you do. And as you said, you know, you're a romantic, so am I. I think quite often we get into the corner of that ceremony room and going, oh my God, this is so beautiful. But you do, because you get so attached with couples. The connection is clear from day one, and that's why the job is so rewarding. But this is fantastic, brilliant. We've got more questions. So Roddy and Emma have popped on and asking us today, did you decide to make the most of COVID restrictions to move forward with refurbishing, or was it planned prior to that? Exciting times ahead for the venue.
Really exciting times ahead. But the plan was already set and the plan was already in motion, and so we carried on. And we had a pause. We had a pause in construction, like everybody when we first went into lockdown. But then as soon as we could get the guys back on site, they were back. When it's been a bit of a silver lining in my head. I don't know if that's just the way I feel about it just now. But whilst we've been closed, it's meant that the building works, the noisy, dirty works can happen while we've had no guests in. So we're not impacting anybody's stay or anybody's events. So I think it's just a way to look at the past 12 months. You know, it is that silver lining. It is that sort of blessing in disguise that has brought us, I have to say.
100%. 100% for sure. I've been through a few refurbishments, so if you can get it done in the quiet times, then that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
We've got Alison saying hello to yourself as well. Wow, big question. Not sure if we've got the answers for that one, but I'm going to bring it up. So, Kate Mary is asking, how do you think restrictions will affect a normal wedding with things like dance floors and buffets?
Trust Kate to ask the difficult questions. Kate is somebody that I have worked with over the years in my previous jobs, and she knows I love a challenge. But I think restrictions will affect normal weddings as we see them, but I think we just need to think of ways around them. You know, whether it's, if we're still serving buffets, do we do buffets that are served by the staff to the guests? Do we, instead of maybe having a dance, your evening reception and, everybody making shapes on the dance floor, do we look at other entertainment? Do we look at having a magician going around the tables? Do we look at caricaturists? Do we make it so it's something on the individual tables? We just need to think outside the box. And I think
100%.
That's what all of us in the hospitality industry do.
I think over time we will come back to things normally. I've read about recently about things that might change going forward. We'll probably not be as keen to be sharing our packet of crisps with somebody else or things like that. But
I never like doing that anyway.
Joey doesn't share food yet. And I think change will come in short term, but I think eventually we will come back to measures in place to accommodate for things. And I mean, I've done a wedding just before Christmas, and obviously households and things needed to be seated in the correct manner. But the wedding was just as beautiful. After the meal, the couple did their first dance, then everyone was seated back at the tables. We did games. They had a Kahoot game. They had a couple of kind of reading out on the phone questions and stuff like that. You can make things fun and entertaining, and obviously it depends on what sort of thing you're looking for, but definitely things will progress. Don't know when and how, but they will. And Kate is giving you a little love heart now. Fantastic. Brilliant. Wow, we've got more questions coming, so I'm going to bring them on to the screen for you. Stephanie Ann is asking, do you see extra demand in 22 from pent-up demands?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I think people started looking at 2022, 2023, and I've even seen inquiries for 2024.
Yeah.
I think couples that are newly engaged are thinking that there has been couples who have postponed from 2020 into 2021. So they're looking for dates further ahead so that they can almost get their pick of the dates. They've got a better chance of getting the date that they want. But no, I mean, I've seen our 2020 diary, it's filling fast, which is phenomenal,
For sure. I think it was Hitched recently produced the report on demand for weddings, and back, I would probably say just as little as a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, the lead to the wedding was about 12 to 18 months. This is now expanded to 24 months, and it makes sense obviously with the demand. We've got weddings moving from the past 2 years into 22, which will be 3 years worth of weddings in 1 year. So that just makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Kate is saying, I love the table entertainment ideas. You're very welcome, Kate. Thank you very much. Alison saying, the small weddings have a magical feeling to them, very emotional, 100%. And
Absolutely.
Sometimes they redefine weddings because I think they're about the concept of what wedding really is about. It's about getting together to celebrate that love in that moment. And it's not about the big entertainment and the big puffy dresses and stuff like that. It's about the ceremony itself.
I think people have made them more of an experience for their guests. Somebody coined the phrase on something I was looking at about downsizing and upstyling their weddings.
100%.
So some of the smaller weddings that we did last year whilst we were open, they've made it more, because people are having to sit at their tables, really. You know, they've maybe had more of a banquet. They've added extra courses. You know, they have had maybe the champagne that they would have wanted if they had 150 guests, but couldn't necessarily afford it.
Yeah.
So they've upgraded their champagne. They've had extra wines. You know, it's seen a big difference in that. And as you say, it's really reminded me again why I do what I do. You know,
100%.
because, you know, love conquers all, as they say. I am so cheesy.
Indeed.
I am so cheesy.
Love always wins. We've got Hell's Bell saying, can't wait to get married in the Conservatory. Laura has been guiding me through these uncertain times, and she's not just amazing at her job, but she's just the loveliest person too. What a fantastic testimonial. Thank you very much for sharing today as well. And Alison says, absolutely, 100% brilliant. Good to see that, guys. If you're loving everything you're seeing so far, give us a little love heart in the comment boxes below. And as always, highly encouraging questions from yourselves, because we can help you along the wedding planning journey as well. So we're going to move on to the next official question we've got for Laura. And ahead of the interview today, Laura, I've asked you, on average, how long do you work with each couple?
So typically, you know, 12 to 18 months, typically. But, you know, now we are seeing longer lead-in times. But equally, we have seen much shorter lead-in times. Probably between September and November last year, we did a good few weddings, and some of those weddings, we weren't their initial venue.
Yeah.
They came to us throughout lockdown, and because they had downsized their wedding, they knew they still wanted to get married. And our conservatory, which wasn't being under refurbishment at the time, that was available, and it was just the perfect space for them. It really was. So, you know, we can turn things around in 12 weeks, 15 weeks. I will always remember many moons ago working at Dundas Castle, and a bride wanted to get married before she returned to work after maternity leave. 150 guests, and we turned it round within 10 weeks. And it was amazing. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been there, and it just proves the point that it can happen just at any time scale. You know, it's all about priorities and prioritizing things there as well. We've got Stephen joining us as well, saying we can't wait to get married in the beautiful conservatory next year. Can you share what the changes will be in the conservatory after the refurb? Laura's mentioned these right at the start of the interview today. She's talked about making the space bigger and having beautiful bespoke made entrances, doors. Was there anything else, Laura, that you would want to share with Stephen?
I think that's the majority of it. I mean, we're extending it slightly. It's going to look almost identical to what it was. We have that beautiful chandelier in there. So that got packed away really safely, and it's going to be getting put back up again. We've sourced very similar tiles for going on the floor. It's going to be
getting a bit more space.
Absolutely. And as I say, this adding the featured doors on either end. So, you know, on a nice night, people can spill out. And I'm getting that long aisle for them to make their entrance down.
Yes. Loving the idea.
So excited.
100%. Fantastic. Good news, Stephen. Brilliant. Lauren's saying, love the idea of cahoots. Use it in my work all the time. Never thought of these things. Thank you. We can't wait to have our wedding in the conservatory this year. Laura has been great during these stressful times. Thank you. Do you know what? This just keeps on giving, Laura. You're absolutely fantastic, and couples clearly appreciate the work you do as well. We've got more questions. So I'm going to go ahead with the next question. We're based in the US and would love to attend a virtual tour. How do we book these, and how does it work?
So at the moment, if people want to contact me either by email or they can contact us through our website, what I've been doing is, rather than having slots available on the website for people to book their tours as I normally would, if people can contact me directly, then we can arrange a mutually convenient time, and I can take you through all the options. I can answer any questions you've got and show you all the spaces. Normally, when we're open, we have an option on our website where people can go in and book their show round direct. So at the moment, we just want to try and make sure we're working to different time differences around the world, and just make sure it works for both parties, really, and make sure I can give you my full attention.
100%. So we've got all the contact details up on the screen. We will reshare them at the end of the video today as well, so you will have the opportunity to take a wee note of them, but just thought it's a good time to bring them up to the screen as well. And I'm just going to check for any other comments. We've got another question. When would you recommend booking a menu tasting?
So I have always said usually between 12 to 16 weeks before your wedding. Probably nearer the 12-week mark if we can, purely because it lets chef make the most of seasonal produce. Yeah. It also keeps the menu nice and fresh in your mind for your big day. And I do think as well, if you do it too far in advance, you can chop and change your mind, yeah. Or you forget. So I think it's nice to keep it really fresh. We can make the most of seasonal produce. We try to use as much seasonal and local produce as possible within the hotel. We've got a fantastic team of chefs, absolutely fantastic. And we will take you through the different menu choices. You can sample wines while you're there, do your canapes. Chef will talk to you about the dishes. And they're not stereotypically scary chefs. So if there's something you don't like, something you want to tweak, you can tell them, and they're not going to shout at you. And if you still don't want to tell them to their face, tell me and I'll feed it back. I'll do it from a distance, so it's fine. But it's a terrible job doing a menu tasting. It's a really taxing job for a couple to have to do that. It's horrible.
100%. Wine and all the food, all the wine and the dining. Amazing. Brilliant. We've got Kate. Kate just needs to get like a top fan badge today. Good to see you, Kate. Thank you very much for bringing us more questions. Kate is asking, what's the craziest wedding theme you have both ever had to deal with, and have you seen any new trends for the upcoming years? Where do you want to start?
Wow, where do I start? We have seen weddings where the best man has dressed up as a dinosaur and handed out canapes. Topiary dinosaurs, on either side of the door. We have had somebody that's gone whole sort of Beauty and the Beast theme to their wedding. So, thousands of roses down staircases, rose in a glass jar. We have had a unicorn at a wedding, as you do. There's so many. There's so many that have all been memorable for their own reasons. And I think going forward, I think people just want to have a celebration. I think people, after this past year, when they're allowed to get together and have a party, that's what it's going to be. And I can see them being all singing, all dancing. It's going to be a great opportunity to get all your friends and family back together and go to town. Absolutely go to town.
Absolutely. I think weddings will have they've always had a big importance in everyone's life, but I think especially now when you can get all the family and friends together after such a long time of not seeing people, that will be, it will be quite a party, I would imagine, right after lockdown as well. From my perspective, oh my goodness me, again, where to start? I had anything from adult-sized Cupid in his little panties scattering rose petals in front of the capo as a joke. I've had to hide a horse and carriage in the car park of a hotel away from the bride where she was getting ready in that end of the hotel as well. A fun one I had, this was a really very particular idea for the dining. So the couple had the idea of a roast dinner for the main course. They wanted a plated starter, plated dessert, but a roast style, family style main course. But how it went was they did it in round tables. They asked us to put a wooden spoon under one seat of each table. They would be engraved with their name. And after starters, I was asked to announce for guests to look for this wooden spoon. And whoever got landed with a wooden spoon became a carver for the table. And our team were already standing with an apron and a chef's hat for them to carve the meat up for the guests, which was quite an icebreaker and quite a fun activity for the wedding. And I think from my perspective, there's a couple of things that stand out to me going forward. I think weddings lately have been about creating memorable experiences, and I think that's the direction we'll be going forward with. And especially that we had such a big break from big celebrations, this will become even more important than it has this far. And it will be, anything from firework displays to very significant entertainment or outfit changes, just very unique elements to the wedding planning from that perspective. But one thing that stands out to me a lot lately is couples really thinking about sustainability, and this has become very significant. And you've talked about obviously a lot of locally sourced produce and food and seasonal food as well. That is massive, but sustainability is something that couples come to me and say, we don't want too much food waste. We don't want to use too many disposable things. We want to have the ability of making the difference. We're making donations to sustainable charities as part of our favours. So I think this is the kind of direction that we'll be heading forward for weddings as well. But entertainment will be big for sure. I can see that already. And we've got you in here. You can talk for hours about very significant and enjoyable entertainment. We've got Dawn joining us from Scottish Wedding Directory. Good to see you, Dawn. Thank you very much for joining us as well today. Great. We've got a good set of questions already. We've got more, but I'm going to move on to the next official question I've got for Laura. So, Laura, obviously we've talked about working with couples, but I wonder what, in your opinions, should couples begin with when considering wedding suppliers?
Couples need to look at feedback. They need to look at testimonials from real weddings. They need to get a feel for that. But then when it comes to touching base with these suppliers and reaching out to them, they have to get on with them. They have to have that rapport between them. There'd be no point in booking a photographer, that you've got no chat with. You're going to be standing in front of them for quite some time. So you want to be able to have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a banter with them and feel comfortable. And it's the same for your celebrant as well. 100%. This person's going to be talking about your story, talking about your love story and the joining of the families. So you need to believe them and know that they're not just reading off a script. There's got to be that sort of emotional connection there. You've got to trust them. You've got to get that element of trust from your suppliers, because you need to know that what you've envisioned up here, they're going to deliver. And whether you've seen trials of it or you've had discussions, you see sketches, you've just got to click with your suppliers, because they're the experts. They are the experts. They're there to guide you. You don't have a wedding every week. People aim to do this once in their life, twice in their life. So you want to make sure it's right. You've got to put your faith in them. And I do think there's a big support out there for, especially when we have couples coming from overseas, or couples that are really busy timetables with work or working from a distance, that they find a wedding planner that they trust. Somebody like yourself, Oscar, that can take control of the elements that they need you to take control of. And you can do the toing and froing for them and give them the condensed version. And 100%. Equally, you've got the contacts. You've got, like me, you've got that little black book of suppliers.
Yep.
That would do anything for their couples in a heartbeat.
I was just about to say that obviously venues very often underappreciated, I would say, by couples often is the fact that venues will have lists of recommended suppliers, and there's a reason why venues don't like to put the name on anything they don't believe in. So I highly always encourage couples, whether you're working with me or you're working with a venue coordinator that will have recommendations, that will be a checked contact. You can obviously check for reviews and directories about these suppliers as well, but you will have that additional level of warranty almost and confidence in booking that supplier, because they have delivered before at that venue specifically, and sometimes even suppliers work to that level that you get better rates for going through that venue being recommended already. But I would also say, on another note, if you've got time and you want to do things yourself, arrange for a call.
Yep.
A lot of couples will speak to 2-3 suppliers. Arrange for a call and see how you get on, because Laura said something very important here. You want to make sure that you get on with your suppliers and they are on the same wavelength. And you only get to do it once in a lifetime, and you don't want to walk away from your wedding thinking, wish we had booked this person, or wish we had spent a little bit more time considering these options. This is important. You want to get this right. So I absolutely second what you've just said, Laura. Brilliant. We've got a question from Stephanie rather. Stephanie Ann is asking us, with such stressful decisions to make and uncertainty during COVID about having a memorable wedding, how do you help couples to focus on what's important to make a beautiful experience during these stressful time?
We break it down into manageable chunks. You have your list of what you need to do, but we break it down into manageable pieces. So you work from, making sure that you've got your most important suppliers booked. You've got your celebrant, you've got your photographer, you've got your band. But if you can break it down into small, manageable pieces, you don't feel overwhelmed. 100%. And you totally feel that sense of accomplishment when you can go, tick, that's done, that's booked. And I'm here. Sometimes you get that overwhelmed with what you think you need to do, who you need to book, what you need to decide on. So book a call with me. Let's schedule time. Just let it all out and I can work out a plan. I'll help you work out a plan. And if there's something I can do to help, then I will. I would never have anybody sit and worry and fret about whether it's COVID restrictions. Just talk to us. I think it's the only thing we can ask, that there's a two-way conversation.
100%. I think, identifying, I always say this to couples, especially at times like now, obviously we are coming out of this, things are progressing. We've already got a roadmap for England. There's big pressure from the wedding industry on the Scottish government coming up with a clearer roadmap for weddings as well. So things will be improving, and this is, the positivity we can share with you. When that will happen is yet to be confirmed. But, throughout this process, what I've clearly identified with couples is kind of working out priorities. And if you don't understand some of the restrictions, reach out to people like myself or Laura. We can help you get your head around that and understand how that works. And then we can identify very quickly, what's important to you. Is entertainment important? Okay, we can't do dancing, but what else could we do? Is there something else we could do for that? Or, you can't have as many guests. Maybe for those guests that are coming, could we do a bigger celebration, extend the food? Or, there's so many things you can do. It's just obviously about making sure that you're happy with the plan going forward as well. Right, we've got another question. We've got a question from Amy. Amy is asking us, need an inspo. With getting married outside, do we get a piper or do we have a silent walk down the aisle?
Why stop at a piper? Amy, you've got options. You have got so many options. A piper is a phenomenal option if that's what you want. We have seen couples with saxophonists. who can bring their own kit and they can play outdoors. You could have somebody with steel drums. You could have a mariachi band. You could have somebody singing, playing the guitar. There's so many options. You don't.
100%.
It's all down to the individual, and it's all down to what you prefer. Yeah. But I think having some sort of music, even if it's just to get everybody's attention before you walk down the aisle, you know, you could have it something playing so that everybody's taking their seats or getting themselves into position. Then they can maybe have a sort of slightly different tune, slight calling to get everybody's attention so that they're all ready and upstanding for the bride's entrance. And then it could be really dramatic if you were to walk down in silence. Yeah. Personal preference.
Absolutely. And I say this all the time. Music can make such a difference to a wedding experience, both for you, your family, and your guests. You know, it's such an important element. I actually had an interview with a bagpiper before, and I've had an interview with a string quartet, and we've talked about playing outdoors. And if you're positioned in the correct way, it's just as good as working in a big room that's got perfect acoustics. It's just about making sure that they come in plenty time and they get themselves sorted. I mean, piper, you can hear through anything. Yep. You know, the biggest storms, you will hear a piper. So you don't need to worry about that at all. Brilliant question. Thank you very much, Amy. So we're going to move on to the next official question for Laura as we're nearing towards the next stage in our interview. So the question I had for you, Laura, throughout your career, you've been involved with weddings for 20 years now. Has there been anything you've been particularly proud of in your career thus far?
I think the honest truth, Oscar, is I am so proud of my team, and I include myself in that because we've got through this past year so far. Absolutely. You know, we have been there supporting our couples, and I'm so touched that there's so many of them have made comments tonight. But we have been there to support them. We've been there to support one another. We have supported couples that weren't booked with us last year, but did book with us last year, and their weddings took place last year. So, you know, it's been a really tough year, as we all know, but we've got through it, and we are getting through it, and there's light. There's light at the end of that tunnel.
100%.
You know, 20 years in the industry, Oscar, and I have never seen anything like the circumstances that we're in. You know, there has been all sorts of animal flus, there's been ash clouds, there's been different things that have stopped travel for a small period of time, but nothing that's brought the world to a halt like this. And the fact that ourselves and so many of our industry friends and colleagues have been producing weddings when we've been allowed, and bringing couples comfort, and we've all been supporting one another. What can you say?
It's a success in itself.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. I think this is what's kind of shown the strength of our industry is the people that are behind businesses, and this is one of the reasons why I do these interviews, is to show people the personalities that work behind businesses and supply these services and look after couples on, you know, daily basis and make things happen for them. It's just definitely shown a big backbone to what we do. 100%. I agree with that. Can't agree more. Brilliant.
And I don't think you can see too many of my grey hairs from the past year, so it's okay.
You've coated them well. I can't speak. I mean, I've lost them all by now. Brilliant, fantastic. We've got more questions for you, Laura. So you kind of have covered this a little bit already, but somebody is asking here, what do you love the most about your venue?
The versatility of it. We have sort of classic modern spaces. We have got more formal ballrooms. We have an amazing team. an absolutely amazing team. And that goes right throughout the resort. A great example of this is one of our weddings last year that we didn't think was going to happen. The bride arrived, was getting out the car, and I'm sort of trying to fix her dress and make sure everything's just sewn. The bridesmaids are where they need to be. And I turned round and our entire concierge team, our entire reception team, anybody that was front of house at the time was there standing, pretty much lined up for the bride to walk past as she made her way into the conservatory for the ceremony.
That's beautiful.
It was just, it takes a lot to shock me, but that really did.
And
Weddings
shows how
do bring
important weddings are to your team.
Weddings bring the entire team together. Everybody at the hotel loves a wedding. But it was just, just sort of turned around and my jaw just about bounced. And they're all sort of going, good luck, enjoy, congratulations. And it was just the sweetest thing. But it was one of these things that we just needed after being closed for so long as well. So
100% sure. It brings a bit of normality to the team as well, seeing things happen again. Those important life events are significant enough.
Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic. Great. So we are, guys, heading towards the end of the official questions. We've talked a little bit about the unusual themes and things that have happened at weddings, but I wonder if you've got one most memorable wedding in mind. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Do you know something? I don't know if I could ever say that I've got one really memorable wedding, because they've all been memorable in different ways. I've got couples that I've made friends for life with them. I get sent birth announcements, I get Christmas cards, but they're all special for their own reason. There's been a beautiful couple that I met where the vet, married the farmer. They had their dogs at the wedding. Chef made dog canopies, just for the pets, because they were, just as much part of the family as anybody else. We've had dresses. Dresses are always memorable. Bride that went to New York to pick up the dress from Kleinfeld's. We had the red Vera Wang that Corey wore.
I love Vera Wang designs.
Outstanding, vivid pillar box red. We've had brides that have made their own dresses as well, designed and created their own dress. Wedding cakes, they're always memorable, whether it's handmade by granny or auntie. We've had 10-tier creations. We've had cakes that have been topped with icing bunnies, doing what bunnies do best. Yep. We've had a wedding cake that the dog ate, and that had to get fixed. So again, it is making sure you're good friends with all the suppliers, you know them, because you can phone them up and say, there's been an incident, can you come and fix this? There just has been so many. There really is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I genuinely couldn't give you one. I really couldn't.
You could clearly talk about that for so many hours. 20 years. I think if we were to unpick one by one, we could be here for hours talking about it. But yeah,
we don't have hours.
There's always so many memories, and the minute you start talking about something else pops into your mind as well. 100%. Brilliant, guys. So we're now moving on to the very final question of our interview. So that gives us all the opportunity to pop questions or prepare questions for our open Q&A in just a moment. So if there's anything pressing that you would like to ask of our expert guest speaker, Laura, this is your last chance. Pop them in the comment boxes below, and we will be popping them up on the screen in just a moment. So before we go to the open Q&A, Laura, could you sum up your service in 5 words for us, please?
This was more difficult than I imagined it would be, but I think I got there. I think I did. Organised, because literally it is my job to organise you. Fun, because quite frankly, wedding planning without fun in it would be totally rubbish. So we need to have some fun in there and some laughter. Individual. I'm all about getting to know the couple. You know, it would be so boring for me and everybody else if every wedding fitted neatly into a box. You know, we love the fact that no two weddings are the same. And it's all about you. My fourth word was calm, because I like to think after 20 years in the industry, I'm fairly cool, calm and collected. I like to think that I can't really be shocked or surprised by anything, but I know I can be. I do just try and, you know, keep it cool and calm on the surface, and, you know, the wee legs are going under the water like the clappers. And my fifth word was bubbles, because really nobody can plan a wedding without bubbles.
Well organised. I wish I had prepared myself. See, you're very well organised, 100%. Brilliant, absolutely. You need bubbles after every wedding coming home. Feet up. You achieved something fantastic in that day. Bubbles definitely make a difference.
Totally. And I think it's important that when you're sitting down with couples, you know, if we're going to be sitting talking in depth about your plans, let's have a glass of fizz. Let's make it fun. Let's make it enjoyable, and let's make it about you.
100%. We've got Morvan joining us from Dundas Castle, saying hello to us. Love you, Laura. She says none of the weddings fitted a box. 100%. I don't think there's ever such thing as a box. So definitely agree with that, Morvan, as well. Brilliant, guys. So we're heading now to the official Q&A. This is, as I said, your very final chance to ask questions from our wonderful guest speaker today. I hope you've learned a lot already. If you've liked what you've heard so far, give us a little love heart in the comment boxes below. We would love to hear your feedback as well. But I've got a few questions here, so I'm just going to go ahead with them. We've got Joe Halliday saying, Superstar Prosecco Thursday. Definitely.
Always.
100%. Thursday is the new Friday and the Saturday and all of the weekend ones. So the question I've got for you, Laura, here is controversial question. What's your advice on choice of barn versus hotel venue?
Definitely controversial, but it all comes down to the couple. I mean, I think both are right for the right people. And I have been to some amazing barn weddings. I've been to a few family barn weddings where we turned it into a weekend. Actually, I'm now starting to realise I think it's so I could do the donkey work. That might have been it. But no, it brought everybody together because we were dressing the place. You know, you could really make it a blank canvas and do what you like with it. What I would say is, you know, coming to a hotel, you've got your experts working in the hotel. You have got your chefs there, so you don't need to think about catering. You have got pretty much all your lighting there, so it's added extras. You know, it's a simpler, more straightforward option.
It's a comfort option for sure.
Absolutely. You get what you see, and you know you just need to enhance it and add your own touches. I think with a barn, more often than not, you've got to go in and you've got to have that creative eye. Yeah. Because if you don't see it dressed, it can be quite hard to envision. But that's maybe me as well, because I'm quite a visual person. But no, it's down to the individuals. I would never knock somebody having a barn wedding. If it's what they wanted and if it's what suited them, go for it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Laura. We've got another question for you. So the question is, are you there on the day and how does this work?
I am totally there on the day. I am there from either when you are getting up and having your breakfast brought to your room, or when you arrive to the hotel. I am there doing all the running about bits, making sure place cards are on the table, favours are out, and making sure that things are where you've asked me to put them. I'm there to make sure you're okay, make sure you and the bridesmaids have got bubbles if you need them. Of course you need them. But there, if you need anything, I am there to make sure that the groom, if he doesn't have a job to do, if they're organised, keep them occupied. We can put them in the jigger in and let the team there look after them for a while and have a pre-ceremony one drink, so that we can pick them up from there and take them to where they're meant to be. Give them an extra strong mint because nobody wants a beer breath kiss at the end of the aisle. And I'm there to basically run interference. I'm there to look after you, and I'm there to make sure that if you need 2 minutes to yourselves, I can squirrel you away. I can make sure I'm liaising with all your suppliers and everybody's where they should be, when they should be. And predominantly, I'll be there to make sure once you're sat down to dinner and see dinner service started. And at that point, I generally can make a quiet retreat, say my goodbyes, make a quiet retreat.
Over to operations team.
Hand over to the fabulous operations team who, I know you're in the safest of hands with them. And then 9 times out of 10, I'm texting them, 10 minutes before the evening buffets to go out going, are you ready for the evening buffet? Is everything okay? Because I'm a control freak.
I think we all are 100%, that's for sure. Morvan giving us a love heart, fantastic. Good to hear that's everything we're saying. You're agreeing with us, Morvan. You're a fantastic expert as well in the industry, so good to hear your feedback. Thank you very much. Brilliant, guys. So I don't think there's any other questions at this stage. We will start wrapping things up for the interview today, and many thanks to everyone who got involved so far. As we're wrapping things up, you're more than welcome to pop very final questions into the comment boxes below, and I will check before we finish up for today. But as I said, I promised to you earlier today to give away a little free guide for your wedding planning, which is available up on the screen right about now. There we go. We've gone too far. Right now. So over Christmas period, I got busy and I organised a brand new guide available for our wedding planning couples. The guide focuses on how to save time and maximise your wedding budget. It's a 3-step guide that will be really helpful from day one for your wedding planning. It really focuses on making some of the early planning to save time over time in your wedding planning, and also identifying areas in which you can make the most of your pound value there as well. If you would like to find out a little bit more, the guide is completely free of charge and available now in the link on the screen, which is bit.ly/save-time-and-money-Oscar. All you need to do is pop your email address there and the guide will be free for you to take today as well. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about the wedding services that I supply, you can book a 15-minute free consultation on my website today, and I will be sharing contact details in just a moment. And to tell you more how I can work with you, my services span from one-off consultation, very popular with final details planning couples or couples who need a bit of a focus in their wedding planning. I also provide on-the-day coordinations for, unlike the old course venues that maybe don't supply on-the-day coordination, I can be there and involve myself in the final stages of your wedding planning. But if you're busy working or you're planning a destination wedding and you need that right-hand man to help you along the process, I can offer full or part wedding planning service, where it could be from sourcing the venue, negotiating, liaising with suppliers, arranging things for you, and being available on the day of your special wedding. I can do all that for you as well. Right, so we're finishing up for today. I must say a massive thank you to Laura, who has joined us for the interview today. Your experience, your knowledge, your tips and hints have been absolutely understated and valuable for everyone who had joined us today. For those of you who would like to find out a little bit more about the old course and the team there, you've got all the contact details available up on the screen, including the telephone number, website, email address, and the social media handles as well. I would highly for you guys encourage you to check out and follow the old course on social media channels as well. As we're finishing up today, Laura, is there any final advice you would like to give to our wedding planning couples?
Enjoy it. That's the main thing to always remember, is to enjoy the wedding planning. It's not a chore. There will be times where it feels like it, but you just need to lean on your suppliers, lean on your venue, lean on your wedding planner. We've got you. At the end of the day, we've got your back. We are there to look after you, and enjoy.
You're spot on. It's so important. People get themselves lost in the moment, but if you focus on having a good time, you will have a fantastic time as well. Thank you very much again, Laura, for joining us today and sharing so much advice and ideas with our wedding plan couples. Thank you very much to everyone who joined us today. I'm just checking for final comments or questions. Everyone is saying fantastic interview. Thank you very much for your expertise, Laura. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you everyone who joined us. At the minute, I must apologise to everyone. I'm currently renovating the house and moving next week, so I've not got any interviews lined up. I am in discussions with a couple of suppliers, but as soon as I've got them confirmed, I will be sharing that in social media channels. But I'm taking a couple of weeks off just to focus on the house move. But once we've got more information, I will be sharing that with you. All that's left for me to do, guys, is wish you a fantastic Thursday. If we can be of any assistance or help to yourself, make sure you check out our social media channels. And everyone have a wonderful evening. And thank you very much again to Laura.
Thank you, Oscar. It's been a great opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.